Some people recount a story about a young boy named Satyakama Jabala, passed down through certain ancient traditions to illustrate timeless lessons about truthfulness, the importance of nature, and the pursuit of self-knowledge. Although set in an era of forests and ashrams, the story conveys values that remain relevant for those seeking clarity about higher truths and deeper meaning in modern life. It begins with Satyakama, a curious child who shows an intense desire to understand the essence of existence, an essence some describe as the reality of Brahman. Some people say that Satyakama, upon reaching an age when children from noble lineages would traditionally go study in an ashram, asked his mother to reveal details of his father and family line. In that period, such information was considered important because students typically had to state their lineage when seeking formal training in sacred knowledge. However, Satyakama's mother, Jabala, confessed that she worked in several places, had served many people, and did not definitively know who his father was. She only knew her own name and that his name was Satyakama. Armed with no more than Satyakama Jabala, the boy departed to seek a teacher. Some people recount that he arrived at the dwelling of a sage named Gautama, an esteemed guide known for offering training in the sacred texts and disciplines. When Satyakama respectfully requested to be accepted as a student, the sage asked about his family heritage. The boy repeated what his mother had told him, that she was Jabala, he was Satyakama, and he could not specify his paternal origin. Some might have expected the sage to reject a student without clear lineage, yet Gautama's response was startlingly different. The sage recognized that only a child of utmost sincerity would risk admitting such a truth, which could have carried stigma in those times. Someone with the capacity for raw honesty, Gautama reasoned, must indeed be of the highest spiritual potential. With no hesitation, he accepted Satyakama as his disciple. Some people interpret this moment as the first lesson of the tale, that integrity and forthrightness matter far more than social standing or formal genealogy when it comes to pursuing wisdom. A willingness to speak truth, even if it might harm one's image, is crucial for any seeker who desires to uncover reality. If a person compromises on truth, they risk distorting their view of themselves and the world, making higher insights unattainable. After some time at the ashram, fulfilling daily chores and demonstrating keen interest, Satyakama was tasked by Gautama with a significant challenge. The teacher entrusted him with 400 scrawny cows, instructing him to take them into the forest for grazing and to return only once their number had grown to 1,000. Some might consider herding hundreds of cows for months, let alone years, a mundane job. But in the context of older traditions, such an extended sojourn in nature also allowed reflection, self-reliance, and direct communion with the environment. Day after day, the boy guided the herd deeper into the forest. Away from the ashram's routine bustle, he encountered the rhythms of wildlife, the cycle of seasons, and the mystery of star-filled nights. Some people say that nature itself became his teacher. While living in solitude, Satyakama discovered that wisdom can arise from all corners of the natural world. The first such teaching is said to have come from the bull that led his herd. Legend holds that the bull spoke to him, explaining a portion of the truth about Brahman. The bull reminded him that various directions in space, north, south, east, and west, are all expressions of the one reality. Satyakama meditated upon this instruction, contemplating how each direction, seemingly separate, is but a facet of the same boundless continuum. Through these sessions of silent focus, the boy grasped a fraction of Brahman's essence, that existence cannot be pinned down to a single corner, but rather extends in every direction equally. Next, the forest's fire taught him another dimension. Some stories depict a bonfire at night, where the flames revealed the unity behind sun, moon, lightning, and stars, all shining as manifestations of the vast cosmic presence. This caused Satyakama to ponder how the flicker of firelight on Earth echoed the brilliance of celestial lights overhead. All those luminous phenomena were not truly distinct in essence, but were expressions of a fundamental luminous principle. In meditative absorption, Satyakama realized that whether it is a humble flame or an enormous star, both can be recognized as aspects of the same cosmic glow. A swan, encountered on the banks of a forest pond, supposedly gave Satyakama a third lesson, that the inner workings of bodily faculties, breath, sight, hearing, mental processes, and speech, are likewise Brahman. From that vantage, everything we sense or do emerges from a single animating consciousness. The body and mind, along with their varied functions, remain intimately connected to this underlying essence. Satyakama meditated on the unity behind these multiple human capacities, discovering that just as no direction is truly separate from the horizon, no bodily function is truly separate from its root in consciousness. Finally, a diver bird is said to have taught him the fourth quarter of Brahman, pointing to the 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, as further manifestations of that same reality. The bird's lesson emphasized that the physical composition of nature, from soil to atmosphere, from a small creek to a blazing flame, shares in the same indivisible foundation. By reflecting on these 5 elements within both the environment and his own body, Satyakama further unified his vision. External phenomena and the physical self both arise from the same source. As years passed, the herd multiplied to 1,000. Satyakama returned to Gautama's ashram with a newfound serenity radiating from his face. Gautama at once recognized the glow of wisdom in the boy's countenance, a glow often described in older accounts as a hallmark of the knowledge of Brahman. When the teacher inquired, Satyakama explained that he had not learned from humans alone. Nature's creatures, the bull, the fire, the swan, and the diver bird, had bestowed vital teachings on the different facets of existence. Upon hearing the boy's experiences and insights, Gautama affirmed that his disciple had indeed grasped the ultimate truth. Satyakama, in turn, remained humble but confident, eventually guiding other seekers and sharing the revelations he had received. Some people draw from this narrative several key lessons. One lesson highlights that personal background or lineage need not determine one's spiritual or intellectual destiny. Satyakama's uncertain parentage was irrelevant next to his thirst for truth and willingness to speak openly. Another lesson underscores that unwavering honesty about oneself and about one's pursuit serves as the gateway to higher knowledge. If an individual compromises on sincerity, they might remain blind to deeper realities. The story also underscores how immersion in nature provides a uniquely powerful catalyst for inner realization. In solitude, surrounded by open skies, rustling trees, and the cyclical rhythms of seasons, Satyakama's mind naturally stilled. Freed from incessant social chatter, he could reflect, meditate, and perceive subtle connections binding the visible and invisible worlds. Moreover, the instructions he received highlight that learning can transcend conventional classroom boundaries. While formal teachers and texts are crucial, wisdom also arises through direct communion with the environment, whether it be a flickering flame or an animal's movement. Some interpret this to mean that life itself is a vast school, ready to impart lessons if one pays attention with a quiet mind and a curious heart. Meditations on the bull, the fire, the swan, and the diver bird illustrate how each facet of the natural world can reveal the same all-pervading truth, simply approached from different angles. Observing the cardinal directions, watching a small blaze that mirrors cosmic radiance, noticing bodily faculties, and relating them to the grand sweep of the 5 elements, these all become doorways to a singular realization, the presence of an underlying unity that some traditions call Brahman. From a broader perspective, this has parallels with the idea that no matter which route one takes, whether through external phenomena or inward searching, eventually all routes converge upon the same root of existence, a single consciousness that orchestrates the symphony of life. Today, many wonder if such a story remains pertinent in modern contexts. Some propose that the principle of learning from nature retains its relevance. Spending time outdoors, away from urban distractions, can restore mental clarity, reduce stress, and foster creative thinking. Furthermore, the emphasis on truthfulness resonates even more in an era crowded with digital illusions and superficial images. By daring to speak truth about one's background or life circumstances, an individual might stumble upon surprisingly beneficial outcomes, as Satyakama did. Others highlight that the story's moral dispels the notion that only certain privileged groups have rightful access to profound knowledge. Instead, genuine eagerness, moral courage, and sincerity are the real prerequisites for realizing deeper truths. In a modern sense, the bull, fires, and diver bird could be metaphors for everyday experiences that quietly hint at universal patterns. For instance, the subtle lessons gleaned from sunrise, from a storm, from hearing one's heartbeat in a moment of calm, or even from a mechanical device working in cyclical harmony, each can prompt awe at how everything interconnects. If someone invests time and attention, these mundane phenomena might echo the same universal principles taught in older texts, that behind all perceived forms lies a continuous presence, and that by honing a silent awareness, the fundamental reality can be intuited. Another takeaway is how crucial the meditative or contemplative approach is. Some point out that no matter how enthralling the external teachings, be they from a teacher, a wise friend, or the hush of a forest, no real transformation occurs unless a person integrates those teachings through introspection. The process by which Satyakama absorbed each lesson involved silent reflection on what the bull or the fire had told him. Modern individuals, too, may read inspiring books or come across insightful talks, yet fail to digest those insights if they do not pause to dwell upon them in genuine stillness. Ultimately, the story of Satyakama remains a testament to unwavering curiosity, trust in one's innate sincerity, and the power of nature to unlock profound realizations. It gently reminds us that even though complicated genealogies or well-defined credentials might sometimes be sought in academic or social realms, the gateway to supreme knowledge cares less about lineage and more about a pure-hearted quest for the real. The boy in the tale, guided by truthfulness, open-mindedness, and the natural world, discovered that the entire cosmos, inside and out, reflects the same essence. By embodying these virtues in daily life, truthfulness, immersion in nature, and reflective inquiry, some people say we, too, can catch glimpses of that underlying light which the older traditions have called Brahman. In a practical sense, one need not literally wait for a bull or a swan to speak. Instead, paying attention to subtle signals, whether from an evening breeze, a moment of silence, or an intuitive flash, can yield expansions in understanding. The key is to remain aware that wisdom is not bound by structured forms alone, and that the simplest experiences may become revelations if approached with sincerity. Satyakama's journey underscores that the wellspring of realization is open to all, provided they approach with honesty, perseverance, and readiness to glean insight from unexpected sources. Thus, the child who overcame social stigma and ventured into the forest with mere honesty and curiosity triumphed with an inner knowledge that scholars sometimes fail to reach. Even upon returning, he carried himself without pride, recognizing that the real teacher was not just one human guru, but also the living tapestry of the world around him. In modern times, as some people juggle screens, schedules, and social demands, the example of Satyakama's slow communion with the living environment remains a gentle hint that stepping outdoors, breathing with awareness, and listening deeply can rekindle a sense of wonder. Paired with the integrity of speaking truth to ourselves and others, we clear a path toward insight about who we really are and what truly sustains us in this ever-shifting universe.